Ugandans, comrades in the struggle, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, as the new year 2025 unfolds, we wish to address the country on the state of affairs of the country, specifically the state of the liberation struggle in our motherland. It would rather be an ingratitude not to thank the Almighty God, whose divine providence has guided and seen us through through a number of tumultuous episodes throughout the year. Sustaining a protracted struggle takes great sacrifice, commitment, resilience, and patriotism, especially under the prevailing political terrain, where the junta is brazenly unleashing terror on the helpless and debilitated citizenry. It's on that premise that I extend my profound gratitude to you colleagues who are assembled here and those away, and all other Ugandans of goodwill for that demonstrated tenacity, grit, and unwavering commitment to the struggle. As I speak today, our founding president and patriarch, as well as the undisputed icon of the liberation struggle, that is Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye, and our comrade Haj Obed Rutale Kamregeya, are languishing in Luzira maximum prison over ill-driven and obviously trumped-up charges. I also speak with a heavy heart, noting that many other opposition activists who are opposed to the family rule are incarcerated in safe houses and other gazetted and ungazetted detention facilities as prisoners of conscience, and many have disappeared without a trace. We do commiserate with their loved ones who are enduring multitudes of vagaries associated with the absence of their loved ones. It's in the same vein that I would like to pay homage to our Kisumu 36, who are still nursing multifaceted social, economic, physical, and psychological injuries that they sustained during the ordeal of abduction, incarceration, and the dehumanization that you all witnessed in the course of the year. On the flip side, we should derive gratification from the fact that the aforesaid atrocities, cruel, inhuman, and all forms of transgressions and degrading treatment are a manifestation of a crumbling regime and should be perceived and treated as birth pangs for a new Uganda that works for all. Let us all observe a moment of silence in commemoration of our colleagues and other national leaders who have departed from us in the course of the year. That is the Honorable Cecilia Atim Ogwal, former Member of Parliament, Dokoro, Comrade Sarah Eperu. Of course, we had also previously lost Adam Mulwana, you know him of Toka Kwa Barabara, Honorable Dr. Frank Nabwiso, former MP Kagoma, Muzei Benjamin Olwa, former LC5 Apache District, Dr. Ruhemurana, former Mayor Kabare, and a couple of other leaders, so many. The list is endless. Mobilizers, supporters, and many, many other Ugandans who have lost their loved ones. We extend our heartfelt sympathies and tribute to the victims of the Chitezi West Slide, the tragedy which is of unprecedented magnitude, as well as the Bugisu landslides that occasioned catastrophe to the people in that region and Ugandans at large. To this, we add various deaths caused through the continuing menace of murders and victims of the sick health care systems including incessant accidents on our deplorable and rotten infrastructure. Eternal repose to their souls. Our country's social, political, economic, and security crises have been exacerbated by nefarious conduct of the people in power, greed, the hunger zone, and apologists to the regime for over 40 years, and of course the entrenched oligarchy of the Museveni family that has firmly established itself as a presidential monarchy and perpetuating family rule supported by those fortune hunters who are well known to you. The positive few among them have been intimidated and cowed into a deafening silence, which is regrettable. They remain willy-nilly and conscious accomplices in the destruction of our country. The unfettered access to state resources that the dictator enjoys, his family's grip and patronage over state institutions and private enterprise, the created cronies and rented support, and the use of the armed forces to mediate in the governance issues all evince one thing: a country which is not at peace with itself and is on the cliff, on the precipice, which is regrettable. All these are written on the wall for the keen observers to see. This blatant abuse of the law and power, recklessness of the security officers, plunder of national resources, and fraudulent conduct, and management of state affairs with reckless abandon has occasioned untold suffering to many Ugandans for over 4 decades. To regain our power, we must come to the realization that we have to execute a liberation struggle to its fruition. The Uganda shilling 60 billion record-breaking hit in the Bank of Uganda in a twinkle of an eye also evinces the rot within the system that is fast driving the nation to the brink of collapse. The hallmark of the entrenchment of the family rule is best manifested in the callous act of Mr. Museveni appointing his son, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, as the CDF, and whose reprehensible disposition, antics, and statements speak to the brokenness of the state structure. Those 2 incidents define what the situation is, the situation we are grappling with. That bloody plunder in Bank of Uganda, which happened in the split of a second. 60 billion siphoned off Bank of Uganda. It's an epitome of the tragedy we are confronted with as a country. And the appointment of Museveni's son as the CDF, the commander of defense forces, it epitomizes the callousness of Mr. Museveni in abusing power and entrenching family rule. Those are two incidents. They're enough to define the tragedy that befell this country. The deplorable state of affairs, coupled with the tainted human rights record, which has invited international sanctions against a number of state actors, has regrettably dented Uganda's image internationally to the extent of being clustered amongst pariah states. You can imagine. Uganda is now a laughing stock. Those who are following the antics of Mohoz, the CDF, will no doubt have to think twice about either investing in Uganda or visiting Uganda or in any way having connection or association with our motherland. Not only within the region, but internationally, to the extent that even threatened to invade the US Embassy and evict the ambassador, to invade Sudan, to invade Kenya, and so on and so forth. The rantings, which are not on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, but they are day in, day out, 24/7, coming from a person who is in charge of, who is actually at the epitome, the apex of our security apparatus, is one matter which should worry all of us. Indeed, we are a pariah state in the eyes of the international community. The year 2024 has ended on rather a perilous note, with Mr. Museveni totally subverting the constitutional order, particularly regarding civil liberties and dispensation of justice. The escalating spate of abductions and the use of kangaroo military tribunal as a tool of persecution of political opponents is such a worrying trend as we usher in a politically charged and volatile year 2025. The trend is worrying. The subversion of the constitutional order, the statements coming from General Kaguta Museveni. I have spoken to the Chief Justice about issues of bail. I have directed all police officers not to grant a bond, total oblivious of the dictates of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and all the international instruments we have assented to. He is the law, and the law is him. That is the situation obtaining in the country today, and those are the events ushering us into a politically charged year. We have to brace ourselves for the tough times ahead. Signs are on the wall that as a country, we are headed for turmoil.